An experienced diver once pointed out that diving isn't something you do, it's something you experience. There's something to that when you consider that underwater, seeing, hearing, moving and breathing differ from what you're used to on land. Let's start with how you see and hear as a diver. Water is more dense than air, and this affects light. Light changes direction slightly when it enters your mask from the water, which causes about a 1/3 magnification. Depending on your perspective, this can make an object look larger, or closer, or both, though with experience, you mentally adjust for this without thinking about it. Water also reflects, scatters, and absorbs light, so the deeper you go, the less light there is. But your eyes are very sensitive. At most popular sites, you have adequate light during the day. Although you may not notice much light loss in clear water during the day, you may notice color loss. Water doesn't absorb light uniformly. It absorbs some colors before others. As you see here, you lose red, followed by yellow, green, and finally blue. Your eyes adjust for the color change, though you may be surprised at how much lost color a dive light reveals. The underwater world isn't silent. You may hear aquatic organisms, boats, divers, and other noises. Sound travels longer distances in water than in air. A boat that's too far away to hear at the surface may sound close underwater. Sound also travels about 4 times faster in water, and that makes it difficult to tell its direction. Usually, something sounds like it's coming from all around or overhead. You may be able to tell relative changes in distance by whether a sound gets louder or fainter. Because water's denser than air, it takes more effort to move through it. The faster you swim, the more energy you use. But what's the rush? Save your energy by moving slowly and steadily, avoiding rapid or jerking movements. Streamlining is part of swimming and moving effectively. You're streamlined when all your gear's secure and nothing dangles, and when you swim relatively level. As you learned in Section 1, trim is your balance in the water, ideally set so your head and feet stay relatively level in a swimming position. If you have too much weight, you add air to your BCD to compensate. This puffs it out, lifts your torso, and lowers your feet, all of which add drag and waste your energy. If you don't have enough weight, your BCD may be empty, but you'll have to kick downward to stay at depth. This puts your feet too high. You can also be weighted correctly, but have it distributed too low or too high on your body. During your training dives, your instructor will help you master correct weighting and trim. The right weight and trim make water's density work for you. As you dive, you stay neutrally buoyant, almost weightless, gliding through the underwater world. At the surface, you inflate your BCD so you float effortlessly. It's your ability to change your buoyancy that makes diving a unique experience. Normally, you'll end the dive when you're too cool for comfort, but be aware that water absorbs heat about 20 times faster than air does, so even water as warm as 30 degrees Celsius, 86 degrees Fahrenheit, can chill you after a while. To stay comfortable, you wear an exposure suit. A full wetsuit like this for moderately cool to moderately warm water, and a short wetsuit like this for tropical water. Use a dry suit in the coolest water. You'll learn more detail about exposure suits in a bit. Diving's not fun if you're cold, so if you get cold, end the dive and wear more protection the next time. Except in very warm water, even with an exposure suit, you'll still lose heat. The longer the dive, the more protection you wear, but even then, you'll eventually get chilled. Normally, you'll end the dive when you're too cool for comfort, but be aware that uncontrollable shivering is a sign of hypothermia. a serious condition in which your body has lost so much heat that it can be dangerous. If you begin to shiver continuously, exit the water immediately, dry off, and seek warmth. You've already learned that you breathe slowly, deeply, and continuously while diving. This is a more effective way to breathe dense air, and it reduces the effect of dead air space. Dead air space is the air in your breathing passages that doesn't reach your lungs. It's the first part of each inhalation and is higher in waste carbon dioxide. Dive gear adds dead air space. Slow, deep breaths make breathing more efficient because they reduce the proportion of dead air you inhale. It also helps you stay relaxed and clear-headed. Airway control is how you breathe past a little bit of water in the mouthpiece, which is common after clearing. The technique is to inhale slowly while looking downward. Since it's heavier than air, water stays in the mouthpiece as the air flows into your mouth and lungs. Put your tongue tip against the roof of your mouth to help deflect any water. After you get a breath, exhale sharply to clear the residual water. If a few droplets get on your throat, just cough while holding your snorkel or regulator in place. Overexertion usually results from prolonged exertion, like fighting a current, so you can start breathing faster than your regulator can deliver air. It can be frightening and may cause panic. Signs and symptoms include fatigue, labored breathing, feeling suffocated or air-starved, weakness, anxiety, headache, muscle cramping, and a tendency to panic. You help prevent overexertion by breathing slowly and deeply. If your breathing starts to rise, slow down. If you start to feel overexerted, stop all activity, signal your body, and rest. At the surface, make yourself buoyant. Underwater, hang on to something if you can, such as a rock or a dead coral. Wait until your breathing returns to normal before continuing at a slower, proper pace. If conditions make that difficult, abort the dive. Remember that when scuba diving, your breathing goal is to always breathe slowly, deeply, and continuously.